Hello.
I
Oh, you got
Nate,
okay.
can you hear me?
Yeah,
Okay.
I can. You're really loud, so that's a good thing, I guess.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, everyone. Quick question before we get started: is there like a fan noise? I have the AC on in this room. Is it really loud or anything?
Nope.
Okay,
Good.
perfect. Thank you.
What would you do if we said you have to turn it off?
I would just turn it lower. Or
Chris,
just be
is
on
that
mute.
a fan or an air conditioner?
Huh?
You
It's
have a
it's
fan or an air
it's one of
conditioner?
those like air conditioning floor units.
Oh, okay, good. Because
Yeah.
to say a fan isn't going to cut it today.
No.
No, no. My office is like above the garage in like a smaller space, and it gets really hot up here.
Yeah.
So we have just like a separate unit that I have to like prop up and use.
Wow. You can't really tell, but I have a sheet hanging on this door. It's just like a door to the deck, so it blasts me with sun all day.
So you're
Sometimes
kind
they
of in the
break
same
it out by
space.
device or source
What's the
or input
temperature out there?
volumes.
I have a quick question. I'm trying. The video keeps switching around to everybody that's speaking. How do I fix that so that I can control it better? I have a new computer here.
You know how to do that?
In the
No.
In the top right corner, there should be a button that says View.
Yeah,
You want to change that to Gallery.
I knew it was something simple.
Yeah.
Thank you.
But depending on which tool you're using, whether it's Zoom or GoTo or whatever, they hide that button in different locations. It's
Okay.
never simple.
I literally fired this computer up an hour ago, so it's kind of like a work in progress here. So I apologize. Thank you.
No problem.
Let's see. Do we have enough people? 1, 2, 3. Where did Ed go?
Yep, we should be.
Right here.
Oh, I don't see. But okay. Well, I'm going to call this meeting to order. Looks like we have a quorum at 12:03. Welcome, everybody. I hope you guys are staying cool today. We'll take a few minutes and go over. We have, I think, 3 sets of minutes, Chris, to approve, and we can get that out of the way and move on to the fun stuff.
Don't we have to do a roll call vote first?
Oh yeah, my goodness. Thanks,
It's the
Kate.
heat. Just blame the heat.
Darn rookies. Okay, so I will ask for a roll call at this time.
Kate Nato here.
Ed Knight here.
Molly Robinson here.
Chris Martin here.
And Nate Shattuck here. Okay, so now we'll move on to approving the minutes. So we have 3 sets of minutes from May 21st, May 28th, and 6/11.
You see that thing with all
I'll ask for a motion to accept
the dials, all the volume controls, all the rheostats.
accept the minutes from May 21st. If we could have a motion to approve them as written.
Yeah. Do we want to do just the one or do all of them?
I think we have to do each one of them individually.
I motion to approve the minutes from was it the 21st, 2025.
Okay, and do I have a second?
Second, Molly Robinson.
Okay, and I'll call a vote.
Ed Knight, aye.
Kate Nato, aye.
Molly Robinson, aye.
Chris Martin, aye.
Nate Shattuck, aye. Okay, so voted. Next, I'll ask for motion to approve the minutes from the May 28th meeting as written.
I motion we approve the minutes from May 28th, 2025 as written.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, Ed Knight, second. I'll call vote.
Ed Knight, aye.
Molly Robinson, I.
Chris Martin, aye.
Kate Nato, I.
And Nate Shattuck abstained. I wasn't there, so I can't vote. So voted. Okay, so I'll ask for a motion to approve the minutes as written from June 11th, 2025.
I motion we approve the minutes as written from June 11th, 2025.
I have a second.
Second, Molly Robinson.
Okay, I'll call a vote.
Ed Knight, aye.
Kate Nato, I.
Chris Martin, aye.
Nate Shattuck, aye.
Did we get Molly in that one?
Molly Robinson, I. Sorry.
Thank you.
Okay. So voted. All right, Chris, we haven't any others to go through, do we?
No. It's
I don't
today.
think-
25. Yep.
Yep. Okay. All right, so we'll get into the meat and potatoes here of the project updates and that. And I guess I'll ask Danielle to talk about where we are and where we go from here.
Awesome. Thank you, everyone. Well, we're at the end. So I just wanted to say congratulations, because I think when we started this process, our goal was to create a brand logo that no one hated. And we have one that a lot of people really love. So that's just awesome, right? Like, that's really huge. So congratulations on that. And thank you, Katie, for somehow pulling that off, because that was, I want to say nothing short of a miracle, but actually it was just a lot of really hard work and dedication and intention. So big applause for that. For today, we're going to review the brand guidelines. So I'm going to pass it over to Katie to walk us through where things stand with the final brand guidelines. We have to discuss what is happening with the webinar. We had discussed doing a webinar to roll out the brand guidelines and share that with folks. That needed to be canceled. So we'll have a couple minutes to chat about that. We'll have a couple minutes to chat about usage. Then once we finish talking about the brand and the logo, we'll shift gears to talking about the town seal. Steve and Terry are here to share their thoughts and an update on where that goes from here. And then I just want to be clear about offboarding and next steps. So that's the sort of roadmap for the day. Katie, do you want to share where we're at with brand guidelines? I know you were waiting for some stuff from Kate that came through yesterday. Want to catch us up?
Sure. Yeah, we kind of went through that document. I believe it was last meeting that we had, just to kind of show you all what would be in there. So since then, Kate and I have been working together a lot. She's doing all the tedious back end work of figuring out who needs what kind of sub logo, what templates would be most helpful, what fonts are easy for her to access or install on internal kind of software and means. So they're really the same. I mean, I can pull them up again if you all want to see them. But the primary changes are I added a Belchertown, Massachusetts logo that I sent over to Kate. And what is the other thing I'm thinking of? And then Kate and I are talking about kind of a final font, not tweak, but addition to the brand guidelines, so that if internally it's easier for staff to use a other basic font instead of getting these accessible and available fonts in their system, they have another option. And then lastly, we are working on templates and the sub logos. Those are kind of me and Kate's current go-tos, creating the sub logos for the various departments that need it, and then creating the templates that are most helpful for Kate to have moving forward. Kate, do you want to chime in with anything that I might have missed or Any thoughts?
No, I think that really covers everything really well as to where we're at with certain things, um, with the templates and everything else. It's been a lot of, unfortunately, last minute stuff. Just tough with working part time and trying to get in touch with people for their sub brand logos and their schedules now that we're in the summer and everything else too. So really appreciate Katie being able to, continue to work with me on hammering out these final details in regards to that. As Katie mentioned, we did go ahead and cancel the training that we had planned for this, which was scheduled for later this week. Partly that was due to by the time we were ready to send out an email to invite people to the meeting, it felt like a short notice for such an important meeting. And we wanted to make sure that people were able to attend the first time. And then the other part of it too is because we're not like entirely ready to roll everything out. And that's a combination between the sub brands as well as the town seal. Because we need to have within our guidelines like when to use, the town seal versus when to use a town logo, official letterhead with a town seal on it versus maybe a letterhead that has the logo on it, and understanding the distinction between the two. And not having that other asset ready. Like granted, we could have made like letterhead with a placeholder town seal in it. But which of the dozens of copies that we're currently using would we have picked, and how would that have been chosen, etc. So that's kind of how we got to where we're at right now.
Yeah.
Do you have a couple examples of those templates just to what you're?
The only one that
I'm just curious.
yeah, one is like a PowerPoint template for
Okay.
presentations.
Oh, okay.
We're gonna do email signatures for staff. And Kate, you might have to remind me. You sent me the list, or we have our list.
It just
Yeah,
incorporates.
and then business cards, like we don't have anything to show with those, Nate, because a lot of those templates require the town seal in them. So we just
I get
found
you.
out this past
Okay.
week that like our email signatures will have the town seal versus the town logo. Like Steve
I
had
got
to go and get that confirmed from Terry. So we just found that out like this week. So
Like all these kind of piecemeal things that we have to navigate. So
Yeah, I'm curious as to the variations and such that we're coming up with. It's just cool to see.
for sure, yeah, like the sub logos and all that.
Yeah.
Really,
Yeah.
it's primarily just kind of, Belchertown, the two logos we have with their department, and then they're choosing what color they colors they would like to use. So, but I'm sure, Kate can show you all when I send over the final package of that, and we'll show you guys all the fun stuff.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I can try to pull up the PowerPoint. I don't know if you want to see the PowerPoint template, but it's nice.
Yeah, just kind of all stuff that's getting there. But again, like we might need a template that also has the seal on it, so it's a little bit all in flux right now.
then another fun and kind of important thing to add that's happened last minute here is we have to roll out obviously the design changes to the website, right? Like so we have the new logo and all the new colors and everything else. Unfortunately our website, it doesn't allow for self-service regarding this. So we got a quote done from our website company yesterday,
enough to give me some time.
So we had a quote done from our website company yesterday, and that was approved, and the purchase order was placed for it. So the website changes will be coming shortly. So that's exciting news to share as well.
Yeah, that's cool. I didn't know that.
It is really neat to see this integration, happening. It's just of all the conversations and everything. We've got some movement and some growth. It's nice to see.
Yeah, definitely, for sure.
I'm just showing this Danielle because your fonts were being silly, so I just wanted to. I know probably Chris was probably like, "Hey, those aren't our fonts." So.
Yeah, and I think that when we set out on this process, one of the things that we wanted to ensure was that the way this rolls out is really manageable, and Kate is like doing the work of an entire marketing department as one part-time person. So the fact that we have this list, that we know where things are going, that we're going to have the templates. Like things will roll out. It'll just be at a pace that like makes sense for the capacity, right? And I think Kate is kind of working well over capacity and going above and beyond to get this all visible where it needs to be. But just want to keep in mind, like it should be a slower rollout. Like we want it to be a manageable rollout for Kate and for everyone else who's going to start incorporating these images into their workflows.
And I can add to, I know we briefly talked about the webinar and the reasoning behind it, why we're changing it up. So we're kind of still in talks with Kate about what would be best for that. We're almost leaning towards when we do have all the materials, that it's Danielle, myself, and Kate, and we just record something that Kate can then have in her back pocket and share with staff as needed or whoever needs to see it. We don't know if we're doing that for sure, but that's just something we've talked about with with this instead of having a date that keeps moving around, that might be a solution. So.
Okay, that sounds good.
And I think, Katie, you can chime in here, but like our role on the committee is definitely winding down. I think this is our final committee meeting with everyone. Steve is here to share more about like what this means for the committee moving forward. But we are still willing to do that webinar, right? Like I want to make sure everyone has their offboarding materials and make sure that like y'all are in a position to keep going with whatever your charge might evolve into. And Katie, I think you're down to still do some kind of webinar where we answer Q&A and explain how this works, and you have that as a recorded asset. It just won't be this Friday.
Yeah, and I told Kate too, I'll just say, because Danielle and Maud are finished at the end of June. I was supposed to be, but I'm gonna just stay on as the same contract through July just to help Kate develop these materials as things come through. And yeah, the webinar is kind of in the air right now. We'll figure that out at some point, but so I'll be kind of around. But I think too, maybe this is a good transition to Steve, but I could see kind of this stuff we're talking about now being transitioned into the communications committee moving forward would be a thought of mine. But I know that Steve and Danielle and a couple people have talked about various things. So I'll wrap my portion up.
Yeah. Just before we go there, the last note on brand and guidelines is I didn't know if there were any other updates on usage. I know that Chris and Kate, you'd been working on a web form on the back end. Think about that. I just wanted to create space for that before we go into town seal and next steps.
Yeah, actually, we were back and forth on that this morning with discussions on how we were going to build that out and everything. Or we have started to build it out. It is not pretty and perfect. It hasn't been dropped into a page with the logo included and links to the branding guidelines because we're waiting on that. But I can share where we're at with that. As soon as the share button pops up, okay. So this is a preview of the form center within the Civic Plus backend for the town website. Simple name, town logo usage request form, quick description that I actually use again down below. None of this stuff really matters. We're just making sure that we're saving it to database. Submissions at the moment are just testing to Kate and my email address. But here it is. So we have a quick update on what this form is. The logo usage request form is designed for local groups, organizations, and individuals seeking official permission to use the town's new logo. Our town logo symbolizes community, pride, heritage, and our shared vision of the future. To ensure consistent, respectful, and appropriate representation, all logo use requests must be approved by the town of Belchertown and its respective parties. Please complete this form with as much detail as possible about how and where you intend to use the logo. Approval is based on alignment with town values and compliance with our brand guidelines. Again, those are still coming out. Responses will typically be provided within 7 to 10 business days, but could take as long as 3 weeks. That's out of advisement from Nicole that the select board might need to approve some of these. Belchertown reserves the right to refuse or revoke the use of the town logo at any time for any reason. So we're looking to collect their first name, last name, phone number, email address, the type of applicant, which this could be, are they an individual? Are they a government entity, nonprofit, school, education, business. And again, none of this is set in stone. So like if anybody has any ideas on what else we should include this, we can get them in there. If other, please explain, that field will pop up if they choose the other option. Naming the organization you represent, that shows up if they choose that they're with an organization or other. And we want to find out if they have any partners as well, right? We want to know who else they're working with so that we can vet them as well. Intended use, we have a whole series of questions about how they intend to use, explaining that we want clear details on what they're doing with it. Having them first give us their intent of the town logo, letting them full long answer explain what they need to do. Also clicking on some of the potential uses: apparel, print, promotional items, signage, digital, web or digital, and other. We ask them to upload an example if they have to, or if they have one. This is an optional one, but if they have like just a rough draft sketch or anything else, really anything that could eventually help in making the decision on whether or not we want to let them use the logo, or even say yes, it's fine, but they have to adjust it so it's this way or that way or something. We ask again how the logo will be displayed. We want some like very specifics of like where and where, how and where. So if it's like a sign, we want to know where they're putting the sign. Is it going to be roadside? Is it going to be somewhere else? We want to know the full duration of the intended use. If it's for a one-day event, if it's for a week-long event, if they're going to be using it for the summer or whatever. We want to know if there are any other logos that will be there next to it to make sure that our logo and somebody else's logo don't clash or anything else. And we also want to know, and we're leaving this one to open-ended, but requiring it is finding out whether they're making any revenue or profit off of it. With a note down below that, and again, this can be changed and should go through legal, but that we don't want them to, we can't let them use it for any personal profits or company profits. But if 100% of the proceeds end up towards charitable purposes, community benefits, public good efforts, then they could be approved. Even if they're selling T-shirts, but the money is going towards the senior center, oh, okay, well, maybe that would be approved, and then lastly, we just want a full explanation of how the town logo relates to or benefits and relates to the community. To really hammer home that whatever this is being used for needs to be at our benefit as well as theirs. And then just some simple acknowledgments. So if anybody thinks of anything that I might have missed, it's tough to share this. I can make a screenshot of it and send it to everybody. It's kind of tough to I can't get a preview to share with everybody unless you have an admin account to view it. But yeah, any thoughts or anything, please let me know or let Kate know. We're hoping to get this up as soon as possible and have it ready and reviewed by the town and yeah, good to go.
Is there any requirement to be a town resident to make this request?
No.
Okay. So we can allow anybody to apply.
Well, so if they're a local business but they don't live in town, maybe they want to apply, or they're with a maybe Relay for Life, maybe a representative for them doesn't live in town, but they have somebody from out of state coming in and they want to use the logo, they can technically make a logo request. So I don't think we want to limit it just to town residents. But obviously, there's going to be some favoritism towards, it's a resident and they're doing it for profit or whatever, then that's going to be helpful.
I was thinking more along the lines of events or residents, that kind of thing. And that pretty much covers everybody if it's an event or a resident. So
I think this is really comprehensive. Nice job.
Chris,
Thank you.
I want to just call attention to in the section where you're asking about partners. I think it says it might be to your advantage if the municipal, I might just say instead of saying that it's to their advantage or not, I might just say please list your municipal partners or organizational partners. Or if we recommend that if you're partnering with a municipal entity, maybe it's suggesting that they are the ones that fill out the form, if that will expedite things. It's just a little unclear. It may be advantageous is it's a little
Gotcha.
nebulous. So if you intend to partner with the Belchertown Government Department or
Okay,
other,
no, that's
like, please name them here, maybe. Or like, who's your
yeah.
contact?
I just figured. Yeah, this was something that I think touched on last time. That like, for like the tag sale event, the tag sale group put together the logo and took the logo and everything, and then we found out afterwards that they were working with the senior center, right? And that like profits were going to the senior center. And it was like, well, if the senior center was the one that made the request off the bat, like we probably would have been like, yeah, okay, great, you're working with them, we trust you, go ahead. Whereas like with the tag sale, it had to be this whole like loop or whatever of like, oh, okay, now we found out they're working with them, then maybe that's okay. So I think we just mentioned something previously of like, you're pretty much better off having the town entity or the government entity saying that they're asking for the request rather than the tag sale group. But yeah, the wording was a little vague, I guess. Or
So maybe we can say that too. Like if you're partnering with a government entity, we recommend they are the ones to fill out this form. And I might just like put it at the top so that someone doesn't get to this point. If that's the recommendation, I think the logic was like maybe someone in a municipal position maybe it goes up there. It's like we strongly recommend that if you're partnering with a municipal employee, that they're the ones to fill out this form to expedite things.
Gotcha.
And then if not, like please proceed, but tell us who you're partnering with, like something like that.
Now, a quick question from a committee standpoint. Is this something that we have to approve to send somewhere for final approval or vote on it or anything like that? Is that something that we have to do, or is this through the communications committee just as a baseline? I guess I want to make sure that, our time is limited, so I want to make sure that we're not missing something if we have to.
Gotcha.
Or if it has to go to legal or select board or something like that, then, we've got the bases covered. And I don't know if we as a committee need to just say aye and go, or whether it's, through the communications department.
I think ultimately I want to send it to Steve, who's here, and have him approve of any language. And if he feels it's necessary to send that to council, then that be the case as well. There is some legalese that I threw in there, especially towards the bottom, about like acknowledgements and understanding that the town owns the logo and they can't make any changes. So my recommendation is they like Steve gets final approval and town council gets sort of that final approval.
I just want to make sure that we as a committee don't have to vote on it first and then send it along as a checkbox.
We could. We don't have to, I don't think, but we could.
Yeah, Chris, if you don't mind, it probably would be good if the committee could vote on it. I think sending it to council makes a lot of sense, but ultimately the select board are policymakers, and I would probably have them just review it quickly and approve it too, just because that's more in their wheelhouse. So, but it's a process. We can go through it pretty quick.
Okay, so I guess at that point, I'd ask for a motion to approve sending this form to the select board for review and or approval from this committee.
Yeah, so I'll make the motion that we send the logo request form to the select board for approval pending the updates to municipal partners within the opening introduction.
I second.
Okay, I'll call a vote.
Ed Knight, aye.
Kate Nato, aye.
Molly Robinson, aye.
Chris Martin, aye.
And Nate Shattuck, aye. So voted. Okay, now that we got that out of the way, we can we have any more stuff for the logo to come before us?
I think we're set on logo. So we can shift discussion to the seal. Where we are in that process is that Katie has created like a one-to-one overlay of the embossed impression of the metal seal on paper and has sent and as one option, and as another option did an outline of a hand-drawn seal and sent both of those, sent the first hand-drawn one to Terry to get clarity on which elements needed to be included. The feedback was that it should look more etched, so Katie shifted to do a tracing of an etched version of the seal. So there's like a early draft of the hand-drawn and then a tracing of the etched version. I think I'm getting that. Katie, jump in if I'm wrong. So we have these two pathways and we're just like waiting for some feedback and clarity from Terry and Steve about which direction this needs to move forward in. And because there have already been a few revisions, we just wanted to get like one voice on how to move forward. So, Steve, pass it to you.
Yeah, I've spoken to Terry about it. I think our original understanding was that we would have a more simplified but cleaned up, sharper line seal that could be digitalized and used in various documents. So it's not that we disliked what we saw, but it just didn't quite fit what I think what our expectations were. And that's fine. That sometimes that happens. I know Ed has been working on some samples. We actually had our town meeting recently, and we have a town seal that was printed on a tablecloth that kind of all resonated with us on what we thought we were looking at. So I know he's been trying to put that together a little bit. But the bottom line is, I think, there's some question contractually, what is required by June 30th? And the final deliverable is a sample for us to consider. And if we reject it, then I think contractually, your obligation is complete and it's up to us to, either modify or take a second path. And if you recall, way back in the beginning, we really had two paths. We could redesign a town seal and take it to town meeting, or we could work with the seal we had and try to manage it to something that met our expectations. So what I would propose is that we discuss, what's on the table today. If we don't agree with it, if you're willing to try another iteration, that's fine. If not, I think, we just need to move on. There's no reason why the committee needs to disband. I believe the committee was formed until final report. So if the committee wants to start working on finalizing the seal based on the templates that we have, that's a possibility too. So did I miss anything, Terry?
I know. Thank you, Steve. Yeah, I think you've got everything covered there. Katie, I just wanted to say that I do appreciate all the work that you've put into it. It was a difficult project to try to do, and I knew going into this that this was not going to be easy starting from scratch. So I do appreciate all the work and effort that you've put in, and it certainly has brought us forward from where we were. And even if it's not the ending of the completion of the seal work, it has gotten us much further than we have been in many years. And I do appreciate all your work for that. And I think we're going to be able to get this through the goalposts here. It was just, honestly, it was just bad timing between all the town meetings, the town elections, and then a recount that I just did not have the time available. But like I said, I do appreciate all your work, and I think we're going to be able to get something really good that the town is going to be able to use going forward. And that was the goal from square one, was to to get an image that's going to be perfect. This is a one-time shot to get it right as we move forward. So I just wanted to say to Danielle and Katie both, I do appreciate all your work the past few months, and thank you for getting us this far.
No problem. I did have one question for Steve. I know you saw the most recent, like the etched version that kind of was like an exact replica. Had you seen the kind of earlier, very simplified, a bit cartoony, but it was a very early draft version? I think that might just be good to have for you all moving forward to decide if you want to go, yes, the clean, simple route, but it might not be exact versus the, etched from an existing illustration that will be exact, but it's going to be a bit wonky and busy. So just kind of want to put that out there for you guys to at least have the directions moving forward.
Recall, I have, but the bottom line is, I agree with what Terry said. You have 5 people, a town manager and a town clerk, and census is, I think that like it's some point try to, you could revising. So I don't know, who wants to go next, Chris maybe, but those deliverables, if we have them, we can certainly work with them. We have people with, I think, the software to keep managing them.
I mean, I think that we have talent in town that is able to do that, and even within this committee, I know Kate and I are both familiar with Illustrator. I don't know. I think Molly maybe as well. I'm not sure. No, I don't have the software, but I'm very familiar with the tool. There is methods and ways that we can make corrections still. Obviously not as ideal as having a designer taking care of that stuff for us. But we could try to chug along with this.
Can we see the iterations that you have? I know, Danielle, you said you had the 2. That
Yeah.
You have.
So
Just so that it's out here.
So this version, let me just make sure that it's full screen. So this was what Katie was given as the template. So the assignment was to digitize this that we're looking at. And her first attempt was hand drawing this into a seal. So this is a very rough initial outline. And when you take away the underlay of that embossed paper, this is what you're left with, which is very simple initial sketch, right? Like that's not a final product. Then Terry provided this etched version. So this is another overlay, which shows just the exact, placement on top of the etched version. But when you imagine digitizing these etchings, how many lines are going to actually be on this? So this was Katie's first sort of impression of adding a little bit more detail. And again, I'm just showing you the etched version underneath, and then you can move down to the next iteration. And then she just added some color, added some shape here. This is the version that she said was kind of cartoonish. But again, it was this like initial draft of what a hand-drawn iteration could look like. The final is in quotes. It's just the ask here was, what are the elements that needed to be included in the seal? And this is sort of where we lost Terry, because she got so overwhelmed with other work, and understand that we really appreciate that this is not anyone on the staff's full-time job, right? So for example, the question was, do we need more stones on the stone house? Is this enough stones to indicate that this is a stone house? Do we want color or no color? Do we need the architecture to look like this? Which trees do we need? Do we need more tufts in the grass, right? Like what are the key elements that need to be here. So this was the first version, and this is where things paused. The response to this was that, it felt a little cartoonish, which of course is like, this was meant to be a template. Kind of think back to when we were doing the logos, how the first version was not where we ended up. This was an early version of that. So we paused, and the feedback was that Terry wanted it to look a bit more hand drawn. So let me shift gears now. So again, we're starting with this impression, and the feedback was, do this. So make sure that the version on the left is what it looks like, but digitized. So Katie tried to do that, and you can kind of see what's happening on the right. And this is where we ended up with like a digital version of that. But as you can see, it's busy. There's a lot more happening visually. It's hard to know, do we want to add more, add less? It's hard to digitize something that's etched like this. Katie, do you want to chime in? Oh, pardon. Go ahead.
I gotta say, I kind of really like it. I think it meets those marks of looking hand drawn, and like, yeah, our logo is, our seal is pretty busy, with all the elements in it, and we did originally have the details of grass and stuff like that in the shading. So this is my first time seeing this, and I like it.
Yeah, we kind of been doing this in the background just as we had time, since it was kind of right as we were also deciding on the logo and all of that. So yeah, I mean, Terry provided that sketch one, so I mean, it's almost as exact as it could get from that sketched one. Of course, there are little tweaks you could make. You could add more grass or some, but yeah, so that's kind of where it stands. I think, Steve, that's what I was talking about, and Terry, you kind of have, if we want that simplified kind of new version, you have that route, and then you have this more classic following that sketch version route. So they're both in Illustrator, they both have all the pieces and things. So
And I will also add, the reason that we were doing this process in the background is because we wanted to present a version to the committee for feedback that Terry had approved. Like, Terry needs to approve this. So we didn't want to present all of these versions if they weren't aligning with like the clerk criteria for what the seal should be. So that was why there was so much back and forth with Terry to try to understand, like, what is the criteria that she needs in order to be able to approve this. And I know she's been doing a lot of back end work trying to figure out what that is as well, right? Like figuring out what the requirements are from the state, et cetera. So I just want to be transparent. Like, that's why that was how things were going. I didn't want to present the committee with give us tons of feedback, and then it's not actionable because it's not aligned with what, Terry's rules are telling her to do, right? So that was the reason for that.
So where are we at with this one? Is it a work in progress? The feedback that's out there now, where are we at with that? Because I don't know that we've heard that as a group.
So I'm just going to pause for a second. Kate and Chris, who are on the communications committee, is Joseph D the person that we do not want to let into this meeting because they behaved badly on a call yesterday? We have someone in the waiting room called Joseph D.
Is it possible to let them in but keep their camera off?
I believe so, but I'm not 100% confident of that. I can also just be like ready to remove them if needed.
I think that's fair. This is technically a public meeting, so
okay. So I'm just naming that I'm letting someone in from the waiting room, and I'm going to monitor our gallery. I'm actually going to I'm going to stop screen sharing so that I can see the gallery and just.
Our committee was, I guess, attacked or whatever last night. We had a public member join, and halfway through the meeting, they displayed some inappropriate content and blasted sound through our meeting, and we had to cut the meeting and restart everything. So that is something that we're all a little afraid of. Technically, these are all public meetings, and all the links are out there in the public for people to find. So you never know who shows up and does what, but that's
Okay.
that's
So I'm
Yeah,
going
same
to
thing
admit,
happened at the planning board last night, so it's just something to be aware of.
I'm going to admit, and I'm going to keep an eye on it. And if we need to end the meeting and restart, we will. But I also think I can remove them from the meeting pretty quickly. So I'm just going to name that. And where we are now is that we submit this most recent version to Steve, and we are waiting for just one set of feedback. So from Steve or from Terry, from both, we just want one clear set. Which direction are we going in? So
So
that
have they both seen this iteration?
yes.
Or is this all new? I'm just,
No, I've seen this, and really, I'm going to defer to Terry on what
Okay.
she wants. And again, when we get the final deliverable, I think that's going to be it. It doesn't mean we adopt it townwide. It just means that that's what the committee wants to move forward with. So,
And Katie has offered to do one more round of revision on the seal based on one set of feedback that's just like aligned with Terry and Steve, because she can't develop both of them.
yeah, I mean, if I was going to say something, I would say that, the grass and the shading on the buildings might be a bit too dark. But again, I really think it's up to Terry and the committee.
And like Chris and we were talking earlier, I would hand off all the native files so that if you guys did just want to sit and tweak and play with those little changes, you could do that, as long as you would need to. So I'm not holding anything captive on my end.
Yeah, and that's what I was referring to earlier, is that in the end, it might be up to us to make the final tweaks and get the final product. It's nothing reflective of your work. I think your work is good. Just the fact that you got it digitalized is a step ahead from where we were. So,
okay.
So Terry, if you have feedback and would like another one final revision, I think please, now would be a good time to share it, and others can weigh in too in terms of the direction, etc.
Okay. Sorry, I just have people coming in the office while I was trying to do this. So, Kate, yeah, I do like the last iteration. I think it does need some more tweaking. And so if you wanted to try to do one more, I can certainly try to get you some more details of what I would like to see on it cleaned up a little bit. But that's completely going to be between you and Steve, whether you want to do this one more try or Steve wants to take this final one and then see what we can do with it going forward. I certainly don't want to tie up more of your time doing this, but yeah, that's going to be up to you guys.
Well, I would say, since I'm kind of hanging on with Kate now through the end of July, if you guys are able to send me that feedback and I can send you another updated version with, a one more time go in July, then we'll do it. If not, either way, I'll hand over everything and then you guys can work on it in-house.
Okay,
So,
that sounds good. Why don't I try to get you one more set of tweaking, and let's see what it looks like.
sounds good.
Can I ask a question? Katie, do you foresee any technical issues with this seal as it changes in size and gets smaller?
Yes. So that's where it's tough, right? And that's why initially I think all of us we were on the route of that initial very simple, clean lines look because of that. But it really depends. If it's not really worth it and we made sure the logo is clear and can be used tiny and be embroidered, is this one going to be used so tiny and embroidered on things? I mean, it's tough because in the end, it's what legally works for the town clerk, and if it legally works and it's staying like this, then it's, yeah, at that point, it's kind of out of my hands. It's up to you guys what you would like to do with it. I think
What's the smallest situation that somebody would use it on a check?
a business card is what Danielle
Business
held
card?
up.
Is that right?
I'm holding up, please don't hold this against me. It's a business card from the city of Worcester. And the template, Katie is designing the template, so it's possible that it could be larger, but that's an example of how small it could get. I mean, you could choose a template where the seal is a little bit larger, but this is a business card.
I think that brings up a good design point, of both what Terry and Steve nodded to a little bit, right? That the shading and such feels a bit dark, but look at what you can tell the most when it's so small. You can tell that it's the church, and whereas like the stone house gets a bit lost because it has more detail. So these are the things to kind of keep in mind, the contrast, the simplicity, and really in the end, what's important to you all. If it's kind of like, if you can kind of see it, then
It's still recognizable at that size, even at the small size, and I can hardly see. So
Are business cards going to have seal or logo?
It's my understanding that our email signatures, business cards, and letterhead, and it would be an official letterhead, would have the seal.
Okay, because I'm looking at my business card right now with the current seal on it, and I think what makes it recognizable is that the grass is white, not black. But agreed, I can barely make out the stone house.
Steve, do you have a business card on your desk that you could hold up and show on your camera?
I can,
oh yeah, Nicole has her.
can't see it.
let me get it in focus. Sorry.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Hey, everybody, I don't mean to cut into this, but I want to make sure, it looks like some of us, Molly and I, both have hard stops at 1.
I was
And
just
I
going
believe if we leave, then we're under quorum.
Right. Well,
I think we have good next steps as far as the seal. We'll keep working on it with Terry and Steve, and then you all will continue to be meeting. So once it sounds like the committee is still going to stay together. So once I have that final edit from Terry and I hand it off, then you guys can continue doing these kind of chats, during the committee meetings, if I'm understanding.
Katie, real quick, what program did you use to build these?
Illustrator.
Okay, good.
And I think I saw Molly has Illustrator but doesn't know how to use it, but Chris doesn't. So maybe you can just swap logins or something.
I have it and I know how to use it. So we're dangerous in a lot of different ways.
Just to wind us down, Katie is going to do another round of revision on the seal, which is going to be communicated from like one set of feedback from Terry. And then I don't believe the committee needs to approve the final seal. I think that the charge is clear on that. But if I don't know if y'all do, or if Steve, if you think it's required, I don't think that there's a vote required. I think it's like we deliver it to Steve and Terry.
I think we have to vote on what we're delivering, right? And
yeah,
then
at the end of the day, we just have to say that everybody agrees to move this forward, and that's the end. At that point, the design falls in Terry's lap ultimately, but we just need to say yes. Okay, here it is, and that's the nomenclature that has to happen. So.
And you would do that after the next revision, not now, right?
Correct. Yeah, we wouldn't be able to do that now.
Okay.
Because, and so what we're going to have to do, with the time, I think we've got about 6 minutes before everybody's got to leave. On the agenda, we went through the qualified usage of the new logo. We talked about that already. And then there is a line item for committee dissolution. I feel like that we've got to get together again in a couple of weeks and revisit, just keep the conversation going as Katie's sticking around for, until the end of July. It makes sense for us to still meet and have a conversation. So that being said, all the public information that's been recorded, and I think Danielle, and I'm not sure what we have to figure out, but how to transfer all of that data and information to the town for documentation sake.
So it's all in the Google Drive, and I think it's going to be a conversation with Kate. I think Kate and I will have to just have a separate meeting to make sure
Okay.
that she, and I don't know, or Chris, if you want to be involved in this as well, make sure that you have downloads of everything that you need.
Yeah, so I have all the drive space and everything from IT. So we can start, have that separate meeting and start facilitating moving that stuff over when you're ready.
And then we just need to create a new meeting link or something like that, because you created that link, right, Danielle?
Yep.
And
so if we're going to have one more meeting for the final presentation of the seal, I'm curious if we can maybe put on the calendar either July 16th, 23rd, or 30th at this time. And I'm happy to host the meeting, and I'm happy to do one last meeting just to get the seal approved.
So the first one would be the 16th?
Well, my question, can we have one final meeting? I guess my question is, how long is it going to take for Terry to provide the feedback? And then once the feedback is provided, for Katie to make the edit. So my suggestion would be later in July, just so that we're not rushed.
Sure.
Either the 23rd or the 30th, if those work for you all.
Does that work for you, Terry?
Or if we could push it out to the 30th, that would be ideal, just so that, we're not up against a time frame again.
Okay.
Okay. So
It's
we'll
just the thought process, that it gives us time to breathe and figure out everything else.
Okay. So I'm going to send a calendar invite for our one last final. Well, you might meet beyond this, but Katie and my contributions are last final offboarding meeting, where hopefully we will deliver Katie's last iteration of the seal with Terry's feedback for you all either to vote to recommend and use, or make your final tweaks after that. And at that moment, we will also have the final brand guidelines. And we can maybe at that point discuss what a webinar looks like.
Okay. I think that sounds like a good plan.
Gosh, you all really must love Katie and I. You can't get rid of us. Okay, everyone. So that's it. I will send an invite for July 30th, Wednesday at noon.
Okay. Thank you, Danielle. Is there any other anything to come before the committee that I don't know about? Okay, hearing none. Any public comment? Any letters? 3, 2, 1. We've got the next meeting time of 7:30, 25 at noon, right?
Yep.
Okay. Well, then I'll ask for a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
I second.
Okay, that was Kate. And I'll call a vote.
Ed Knight, aye.
Kate Nato, aye.
Holly Robinson, aye.
Chris Martin, aye.
And Nate Shattuck, aye. Thank you all. And we'll see you on the 30th.
Okay, bye.
Have a good summer. Bye.